Good morning and Jai Hind, students. I'm Amrit Tiwari, PGT English, and today we are going to study chapter number 5, Indigo, from the main course book, Flamingo. So please get ready with your learning equipments and let us start now. Now here I am going to share my screen along with you. The title of the story is before you, that is Indigo, which is written by Louis Fisher. Now some important points are given here. Before beginning of the chapter, first of all we are going to study we are going to see the important points of the chapter. So we are going to start with the introduction. Let us see the introduction of the chapter Indigo. In this lesson Indigo, Louis Fisher highlights the injustice of the land law system in Bihar. The Champaran peasants, who were sharecroppers, were exploited by the rich and influential English landlords who insisted on cultivation of indigo on 15% of land and made them surrender the entire indigo harvest as rent. But after Germany developed synthetic indigo, that is artificial indigo, chemical indigo, they obtained agreements from the sharecroppers to pay them compensation for being released from the 15% arrangement. And Gandhiji took up the cause of the poor peasants. He secured justice for them through convincing arguments and negotiations. Now, students, let us see the theme of the chapter. Our second point is the theme, and let us see that what is the theme of the chapter. In this extract, the author describes the conflict between the poor sharecroppers of Champaran and the powerful British landlords, and the sharecroppers' victory over the British landlords. In spite of all odds, sharecroppers are able to defeat the evil designs of the exploitive landlords, and the support of the Indian leaders to the sharecroppers helps them win the battle against the powerful British landlords. Now, students, let us take the another point, that is title of the story. Since whole story is based on this title Indigo, so sometimes that this question is very important, which can also be asked in board examination to justify the title. So here let us see the title. The title of the lesson Indigo focuses our attention on the issue of exploitation of indigo sharecroppers at the hands of cruel British planters. The British planters compelled them through a long-term agreement to plant indigo on 15% of their land and surrender the entire harvest as rent. After the development of synthetic indigo by Germany, the British planters extracted money from the peasants as compensation for being released from the 15% of agreement. The peasants who wanted their money back filed civil suits. Rajkumar Shukla, who was one of the sharecroppers, persuaded Gandhiji to take up the case of indigo sharecroppers. So, indigo sharecropping exemplifies the injustice of the British and the Indians' submission to the British authority. The Champaran movement that centered on indigo sharecropping led to social and cultural upliftment of the peasants of Champaran. Thus, the title indigo is highly suggestive and absolutely justified. Now, students, let us see that another important point of the story, that is the message. And in this story, Indigo, the author Louis Fisher conveys that man should face the challenges and difficulties of life with courage and determination. Man can certainly overcome the problems of life if he learns to be self reliant and fights his own battle without looking for help from others. And we can also see that another point, that is the character. So, in this chapter Indigo, we are going to focus especially on two major characters, especially the protagonist of the story is Mahatma Gandhi himself. Right from the beginning till the end, we have seen the role of Mahatma Gandhi is very important. So, see some importance of Mahatma Gandhi. And apart from Mahatma Gandhi, that who helped the poor sharecroppers to win the battle against the uh, British landlords. And the second important character is Rajkumar Shukla, that who was one of the sharecroppers from Champaran district, and uh, on the advice of someone, he came to Lucknow to meet Mahatma Gandhi, and he took Mahatma Gandhi to fight for the sharecroppers against the injustice done by the British landlords. In this way, students, we have covered all the important points, and after that, now I am going to share with you on your screen the text, means the story of the chapter Indigo. And here, students, you can see that some of, first of all, it is written about the author, so you can go through about the author. Short introduction of the author Louis Fisher has been given, so you can go through about this, because no questions are going to be asked from about the author, but last 4 lines we have to focus, and we can focus here from this line. The following is an excerpt from this book of Louis Fisher, that is the life of Mahatma Gandhi, and this book has been reviewed as one of the best books ever written on Gandhi by Times Educational Supplement. And in this way, students, that we are able to cover all the important points, and generally that in your board examinations, that questions are asked from these points only. So that's why I suggest you to focus and study these points very carefully, and whenever it is required, when you attempt the answer, you can enrich your content with mentioning these points. Now let us come to the text. The story starts when Louis Fisher, the author, who was the great follower of Mahatma Gandhi, was very much impressed by the principles of Mahatma Gandhi. When he decided to write a book on Mahatma Gandhi, so he wanted to collect the first-hand information. He wanted to collect the relevant information, authentic informations. So that's why he decided to meet Mahatma Gandhi and know something about him, about the how he indulged himself in the freedom struggle movement of India. So he mentioned that Mahatma Gandhi started his freedom struggle movement of India to make India free from the British rule, and this movement had been started uh, in 1917 from Champaran episode, and that episode took place because of the indigo plantation. And here in first paragraph, Louis Fisher says that when I first visited Gandhi in 1942 at his ashram in Sevagram in central India, he said, I will tell you how it happened that I decided to urge the departure of the British. It was in 1917. And when Louis Fisher met Mahatma Gandhi in 1942 at his ashram in Sevagram, and he requested him to tell him that how he decided to advocate the departure of the British from India. Then Gandhi ji told that it started in 1917 when he decided to drive Britishers out of India and involved in the freedom struggle movement of India. And now students see the second paragraph. Here author says that he had gone to the December 1916 annual convention, that is the meeting of the Indian National Congress Party in Lucknow. Now author says that in 1916, in the month of December, there was annual conference of Indian National Congress Party, and which was held in Lucknow, and there were 2301 delegates from different parts of the country represented, and many visitors were also present there. So during the proceedings, while meeting was going on, Gandhi narrated that a peasant came up to me looking like any other peasant in India, poor and emaciated. Then Gandhi told to Louis Fisher that during the meeting in Lucknow, he noticed that a peasant who came up to meet him, and he was looking like any other peasant in India. He was looking poor and weak, and said that I am Rajkumar Shukla, and he introduced himself to Gandhiji that he was Rajkumar Shukla, and he said that he was from Champaran. And he further told that he wanted Gandhiji to come to his district, and Gandhi had never heard of the place, and it was in the foothills of the towering Himalayas. Gandhiji had never heard about Champaran district, which was there in Bihar, and it was near the kingdom of Nepal. And now story begins from here. Main story begins from here when Gandhiji told. Then under an ancient arrangement, the Champaran peasants were sharecroppers. You know, there was an agreement between Indian sharecroppers, Champaran sharecroppers, and British landlords, and according to that previous arrangement, Rajkumar Shukla was one of them. Indian peasants were the sharecroppers, and Rajkumar Shukla was one of the sharecroppers. And further, the author says that he was illiterate but resolute. Now, students, you can see that this point is very important, that Rajkumar Shukla was illiterate and resolute. Resolute means determined. He was very firm in his determination, and though he was illiterate, but he was a determined person. He had come to the Congress session to complain about the injustice of the landlord system in Bihar. And he had come there. What was the, when we talk about the mission, what was the aim of Rajkumar Shukla to visit the Congress session? He had come there to complain about the injustice of the landlord system in Bihar. Now students, you can also notice that he had come there to because at that time there was a landlord system in Bihar, and he had come to complain against the landlords and British landlords. And somebody had probably said, speak to Gandhiji, and somebody had advised to him to talk to Gandhiji regarding that, because Gandhiji was a person who was always ready to fight for the poor, any kind of injustice against the poor. So that's why, on the advice of someone, Rajkumar Shukla came to the Congress session to talk to Gandhiji. Now in next paragraph we see that author describes that Gandhi told Shukla he had an appointment in Kanpur and was also committed to go to other parts of India. And Gandhiji told Rajkumar Shukla that because he had previous appointments, so that's why he had to visit to Kanpur first, and was also committed to go to some other parts of India. Means at that time Gandhiji was not free. But Shukla, since he was resolute, he was a determined person, he had a strong willpower. He had committed once, he had promised himself that without taking Gandhiji he will not return to Champaran. So Shukla accompanied him everywhere. Wherever Gandhiji went, Rajkumar Shukla followed him. And then Gandhi returned to his ashram near Ahmedabad. Shukla followed him to the ashram. And when Gandhiji returned to his ashram, which was near Ahmedabad, so Shukla also followed him to his ashram. And not only this, rather for weeks he never left Gandhiji's side. For weeks he followed, he kept on following Gandhiji wherever he went. And when Gandhiji became free, then Rajkumar Shukla requested Gandhiji to fix a date to come with him to Champaran. Now, since he followed Gandhiji everywhere, so Gandhiji was very much impressed by the sharecroppers' tenacity, by Rajkumar Shukla's tenacity. Tenacity, this means firmness. He was very determined and very firm about his decision. So this was one of the quality. Now students, whenever you will have to write about Rajkumar Shukla, character sketch of Rajkumar Shukla, then these qualities you can mention in order to enrich your answer. So Gandhiji was impressed by Rajkumar Shukla's tenacity, the firmness, and the story which he shared to Gandhiji about the exploitation of the Champaran sharecroppers. I have to be in Calcutta on such a date. Come and meet me and take me from there. Now Gandhiji was impressed by him, and then finally that he gave him a date and told that he had to go in Calcutta on such and such date. And then he told Rajkumar Shukla to meet him at Calcutta, and from there he was ready to go with him. Now we can see in next paragraph the author Louis Fisher describes that months passed. For many months Rajkumar Shukla waited for Gandhiji to be free, and Shukla was sitting on his haunches at the appointed spot in Calcutta when Gandhi arrived, and Rajkumar Shukla followed him to Calcutta as well, and he waited for a very long time until Gandhiji became free, and he waited till Gandhiji was free. Then the two of them boarded a train for the city of Patna, and then both of them boarded a train from there to the city of Patna in Bihar, and there Shukla led him to the house of a lawyer, and from there that Shukla led him to the house of a lawyer, and from there, because Rajkumar Shukla took Gandhiji first of all to the house of a lawyer named Rajendra Prasad, who later became the president of Congress Party and of India. And Rajendra Prasad was a very eminent lawyer, prominent lawyer at that time, and later on Rajendra Prasad became the president of the Congress Party, and when India got freedom, then he also became the first president of free India. So Rajendra Prasad was out of town, but at that time Rajendra Prasad was not at his home, he was out of town. But servants knew Shukla as a poor yeoman who pestered their master to help the indigo sharecroppers. And now here we see that only servants were there, and the servants knew that Shukla was a poor yeoman who pestered means who troubled their master to help the indigo sharecroppers. Means Rajkumar Shukla had visited many times to Rajendra Prasad, and that's why servants knew him very well, that he was a yeoman. He was a yeoman. He was a simple poor farmer. And further the author describes that so they let him stay on the grounds with his companion Gandhi, whom they took to be another peasant. Means servants did not allow them, did not welcome them properly, did not allow them to enter into their house. Rather, they allowed them to stay on the grounds with Gandhiji. And Gandhi, whom they took to be another peasant. Since servants knew only Rajkumar Shukla, they did not know Gandhiji. That was Gandhiji, how famous he was, they did not know. So that's why they thought that Gandhiji is also one of the peasant, like many other times when Rajkumar Shukla visited Rajendra Prasad's house, so he was along with some other peasants. So servants thought that Gandhiji can also be a peasant. That's why they did not allow Gandhiji to enter into the house. But Gandhi was not permitted to draw water from the well, lest some drops from his bucket pollute the entire source. And Gandhiji, since servants allowed Gandhiji to stay there at the ground, but Gandhiji was not allowed to draw water from the well, lest, because they thought that some drops, if some drops of from his bucket will fall into the well, then it will pollute entire source. It means at that time casteism, untouchability, which was another social evil, it was also prevailed in the society in large scale. And how did they know that he was not an untouchable, and why they did not allow Gandhiji to draw water from the well? Because they did not know that from which caste Gandhiji belonged to, and because they did not know Gandhiji, so that's why they did not allow even Gandhiji to draw water from the well. Now, students, we can see that in the last paragraph of this page, Louis Fisher uh, says that Gandhi decided to go first to Muzaffarpur, which was en route to Champaran, to obtain more complete information about conditions than Shukla was able to imparting. Gandhiji decided to go first to Muzaffarpur. From there, Gandhiji, because Gandhiji has a different typical pattern of walking. Until he becomes satisfied about any matter, he does not move forward. So that's why, first of all, that from Patna, from Rajendra Prasad's house, he decided to go to Muzaffarpur, and which was en route to Champaran. And he went to Muzaffarpur in order to obtain more complete information about the conditions than Shukla was capable of imparting, since Rajkumar Shukla has given some information regarding the exploitation of the sharecroppers by the British landlords, but still it seems that Gandhiji was not satisfied, as he did not have the complete information. So in order to obtain more information, more authentic information, Gandhiji decided to go to Muzaffarpur first, and he accordingly sent a telegram to Professor J.B. Kriplani of the Arts College in Muzaffarpur, whom he had seen at Tagore's Shantiniketan school. And there, since in Muzaffarpur, there was a professor, J.B. Kriplani, who knows Gandhiji well, and who was a professor at the Arts College in Muzaffarpur, and whom Gandhiji met at Shantiniketan, Tagore's Shantiniketan school. The train arrived at midnight, 15th April 1917. So first of all, he telegrammed, means Gandhiji telegrammed to Professor Kriplani, and he informed him about his arrival. And when Gandhiji arrived at midnight on 15th of April 1917, Professor Kriplani was waiting at the station with a large body of students. Professor Kriplani came there at the station along with the large number of students to welcome Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi stayed there for 2 days in the home of Professor Malkani, a teacher in a government school. And Gandhi stayed there for 2 days in Muzaffarpur at the home of Professor Malkani. There was another Professor Malkani who was a teacher in a government school. So there Gandhiji stayed for 2 days at Professor Malkani's house. Now remember, students, that Professor Kriplani and especially Professor Malkani, these two professors' role is also important part of the story, who supported Gandhiji and who that gave shelter to Gandhiji instead of being a government employee. And it was a unique thing at that time that any of the government employee had supported anyone who was the advocate of home rule. So it was an extraordinary thing in those days, Gandhi commented, and later on Gandhiji told to the author that at that time it was a very peculiar thing, unique, extraordinary thing in those days, that for a government professor to harbor, to give shelter to a man like me. Because at that time, because Gandhiji was the that supporter of home rule in India, and at that time, since it was a British rule, so it was quite extraordinary for any of the government employee to give shelter to Mahatma Gandhi or to any of the follower, any of the person who was the advocate of home rule. In this way, that he had taken a great risk of his job as well. Now the reason is that because in smaller localities at that time, in smaller localities, the Indians were afraid to show sympathy for advocates of home rule. Means uh, Indians were afraid to show any kind of sympathy or any kind of support, to give any kind of support to any other person who was advocating home rule, who was in favor of the home rule in India, because naturally it was there that anyone that who was supporting Indian rules, because at that time there was the British rule, and anybody who was supporting uh, anyone that who was the admirer of home rule, so definitely uh, they were at the risk, because like Professor Malkani, means his job was at the risk because he was under the British rule at that time. So this is also students important point that you can note it down, you can underline, because this has also asked in your board examination as a short answer type questions. Now further, what happened, let us see. In the next paragraph, the author describes that the news of Gandhiji's advent, means arrival, the news of Gandhiji's arrival and of the nature of his mission spread quickly through Muzaffarpur and to Champaran. And when Gandhiji arrived there, that this news of Gandhiji's arrival spread very quickly through Muzaffarpur and to Champaran districts. And sharecroppers from Champaran began arriving on foot and by conveyance to see their champion. Their champion means their defender, their leader. And since before this there were no leader, there was no one who could support them, who could guide the sharecroppers, because they were illiterate, they were poor. When in the form of Gandhiji they found their champion, they found their leader, that sharecroppers from Champaran began arriving on foot and by conveyance, whatever conveyance they got, they started arriving to see Gandhiji. And Muzaffarpur lawyers called on Gandhi to brief him, and some of the prominent lawyers of Muzaffarpur who had already, taken the case of sharecroppers, they arrived when they came to know that Gandhiji has arrived there. So they also came to give detailed information about sharecroppers case to Gandhiji. They frequently, since they had frequently represented peasant groups in court, they told him about their cases and reported the size of their fee. And further, they also told Gandhiji that they had taken their cases, sharecroppers cases, in the court frequently, and a huge amount of fee they charged from the poor sharecroppers. But Gandhi chided the lawyers for collecting big fee from the sharecroppers. But Gandhiji, who was a very selfless person, and who knew that they were poor sharecroppers, they should not charge so much fee from them. So that's why Gandhiji scolded the lawyers for collecting such a big amount of fee from those poor sharecroppers. And further he said that I have come to the conclusion that we should stop going to law courts, because and taking such cases to the courts does little good. And now finally, after knowing this, that how much fee they charged from the sharecroppers, because Gandhiji knew their conditions, they were not able to give the such a big fee to the lawyers. Then he decided uh, that to stop. He decided to stop going to law courts, because taking such cases to the courts does little good. According to Gandhiji, that there was no use of taking such cases into the court. And where the peasants are so crushed and fear stricken, because Gandhiji had a typical pattern, different pattern of walking, and he was a visionary leader. He understood the real problem of the poor peasants. So he decided not to take their case to the court, because that he thought that poor peasants are so much crushed, oppressed and fear stricken, because they are scared so much of the Britishers. Even they are unable to raise their voice uh, even for their justice. So that's why he thought that law courts are useless. In that case, the law court are useless for the sharecroppers, because they are oppressed and they are fear stricken. And now students, you can also see that here one question can be raised, important question can be raised, that why that Gandhiji thought that taking the peasants court, sharecroppers case into the court are useless. So reason is because they were so much crushed, so much oppressed, so much fear stricken, that even they did not have the courage to raise their voice even for their justice. In that case, taking their cases to the court will be useless. And then Gandhiji got a solution of it, because he thought that the real relief for them is to be free from fear. Gandhiji decided to do something. Because of that, they should be released from the fear of the British landlords, because that was they were being exploited. And because they were fear stricken, whenever they wanted to raise their voice, they had been crushed, they had been, beaten by the hired thugs, by the British landlords. So that's why they were fear stricken. So Gandhiji wanted that their fear should be driven out from them, so that they could be self dependent and they can raise their voice for the noble cause, for their justice. Now most of the arable land, now in next paragraph we can see that most of the in next paragraph we can see that most of the arable land, that productive land, fertile land, the most of the arable land in Champaran district was divided into large. Now students, it is where this paragraph is very important, that because from here onwards we will be able to know the real cause of the conflict. Now here see that most of the arable land means productive fertile land in Champaran district was divided into large estates, and which was owned by Englishmen and worked by Indian tenants. Indian tenants means Indian sharecroppers. Britishers, since they were the outsiders, But even though the lands were of Indians, but even though that they were the owner of the big piece of land in Champaran, and it was worked by the Indian tenants. So now that's all for today, students. As uh, after this, the remaining part of the story we will study the next day.